What's happening, everybody? Welcome to another installment of the Kwame Fisher Jones Show, brought to you by WWDBAM Talk 860. It is a nice day here out in Philadelphia. I hope everybody who's listening out in Philadelphia or anyone listening on the iHeartRadio app, thank you for joining and riding with us this Saturday. We're here every Saturday from 4 to 5 p.m. Playoff basketball is in the air, so we got to talk NBA. Also going to open up today. Got a pretty good show. Some technical difficulties, so I wasn't able to get some of my guests on it, as I mentioned to those watching on Facebook Live, but we're still going to roll with it. So we're still going to talk some Ben Simmons growing pains today. We're going to talk the jig is up on Markelle Fultz, Celtics rebuild versus the Sixers rebuild, which I'm really excited about getting into that segment. And this is going to be some major changes this offseason in the NBA, with LeBron possibly going west, Kawhi possibly more than likely going east. I'm also going to get into the Knicks and David Fizdale hiring. I like David Fizdale. I don't know if he and the Knicks are a good fit, so we're going to get into that. Also going to talk why the Pittsburgh Steelers need to move on from Big Ben. It's long overdue. Hopefully this is his last season in Pittsburgh. Enough's enough. I was one of Big Ben's biggest fans. I was trying to think of a different adjective to say other than biggest. I was one of Big Ben's favorite. He was one of my favorite players, and from sexual assault to the motorcycle accident to just the reports out of Pittsburgh. I think it's time for Pittsburgh to make a move. And rarely do you say that about a two-time Super Bowl champion quarterback, but enough's enough. So we're going to get into that, and then we're going to finish up with some Matt Ryan love. I love the fact that a player in the NFL is finally getting his paper. But as I stated, we're going to open up with Ben Simmons struggles. And for those of you who don't know, I'm in the Philadelphia market. All of the talk radio that I get is in Philadelphia. I do listen to some national guys, but I try to support my brothers out here. Ty Johnson, I try to rock with him. James Seltzer with one of the other stations. Two good dudes in the industry that I got a chance to work with, and I'm excited about them. So I try to support them. So therefore, sometimes I have to listen to the Philadelphia sports scene. And a lot of the scene this week in this city was Ben Simmons' struggles. And it was one of the two things that infuriated me. And one of the reasons why the Simmons talk infuriated me is because you would think that a city like Philadelphia would understand how basketball works, specifically the basketball guys. I don't quote the great philosopher Shaquille O'Neal much, but in order for you, he's got this phrase that in order for you to have success, you must fail first. And it's really cereal box logic. Like it's like if you go in the back of a cereal box, it'll give you a map and it'll give you that slogan. But it makes sense. And it's true. And it rings significantly true in the NBA. So Ben Simmons had a horrible game. He had 1 point, which doesn't bother me much. The single point didn't bother me. It was the 4 shot attempts that really irked me. But I knew going in to this series that Simmons was going to struggle. For me, this series was never about the Sixers per se. It was more or less about Ben Simmons and his success and his growth as a player. He pretty much walked on water throughout the season. You had your detractors. He can't shoot a jump shot. Which I always think is funny because very rarely does a 6'11" dude ever come in with a solid jump shot. I can show you footage of Kevin Garnett. Show you early footage of Tim Duncan's free throws. Jump shooting is not something big men come into the league with. They develop it over time. I mean, when I mentioned Shaquille O'Neal, when he first came into the league, all he did was back you down and dunk. You develop a jump shot over time. I say it all the time. In NBA practices, all NBA players do is argue over Instagram models and work on their jump shot. So I wasn't bothered by Ben Simmons' struggles about his jump shot. But I felt he had enough special attributes that he would still register a terrific opening inaugural season, which he did. But last week, I walked you through this process. Last week, I discussed ad nauseum, went over how he was going to struggle. I told you Marcus Smart was going to dig in his, can I say butt? Marcus Smart was going to become familiar with his hind parts. That's a safe way to say it on Josh. It's a good way to say it, keep me on the air. That Brad Stevens was a terrific coach, was going to throw things at Ben Simmons that he had never seen before. and he was going to struggle with them. I didn't say he would get frustrated.